Pre-faith doesn't look like you think it does. I don't care what anybody tells you about how long they pray, or how much they believe God, or how they taught their children how to knit quilts and pray for missionaries at the same time. That's all wonderful, but I promise you, that their testimony had a stage of terror. It's been terrorizing you, hasn't it? It's been terrorizing you. Some things you did in the past that you wish you could get back, it's been terrorizing you. Some things you didn't do to prepare and now you're not ready, it's been terrorizing you, hasn't it? It's been chasing you, hasn't it? It's been making you want to give up on you, hasn't it? It's been making you sabotage yourself, hasn't it? It's been making you think maybe there's not a reason for me to go through it all. It's been making you want to turn around and go home. It doesn't work in reverse, right? You can't go back there. 3. And Moses is in a difficult dilemma. Because now they want to go back to Egypt and they're making crap up. They're making crap up. They're just, this didn't happen. Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone? This is verse 12. Leave us alone. Let us serve the Egyptians. No, you didn't say that to him in Egypt. They never said that in Egypt. If you find it, put it on some social media and I'll meet up with you there. It's not out. You can't find it. They didn't say that. This is a revisionist history. Come on. This is so good. So now, I feel really bad for Moses, even more than I feel bad for them, and I feel bad for everybody, because I would be saying the same stuff. I would be having the same thoughts. I'd be wanting to go back to. I do it all the time. But Moses has to motivate them to keep moving. In fact, in verse 13, he answered the people, do not be afraid, stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Now, part of that is true. The Lord will fight for you. But part of it is false. You don't get to be still. In fact, the moment Moses gets his motivational speech out of his mouth, God corrects him. I wonder, did you ever read this about the green light at the Red Sea? I wonder, did you ever really think about this? Because Moses is saying, hey, God's got this. He told us to come through the Red Sea. He's going to do it. He's God. He's faithful. He brought us out. He didn't bring us this far. Leave us. Just stand still. Now, watch God in verse 15. Then the Lord said to Moses, why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites, move on. Why? That's God honking. That's not Pharaoh chasing. That's God honking. That restless thing inside of you, that's letting you know you can't stay in these excuses and just be who you were 10 years ago. That's God honking. That's God honking. That's a beat. Now God will give you a courtesy honk. Before he lays on the horn. And this is a courtesy honk from God. This word, this message today from God through me to you. This is a courtesy honk from God. Because if you stay here in this dry spot and feel sorry for yourself or blame others or spend your time in reverse, you're not going to make it out the parking lot. You're not going to get to see the manna. You're not going to get to taste the grapes. You're not going to bring down the giant. This is God honking. He said if you stand there and stay in your feelings, I don't know if you noticed, but it said they were terrified. I guess they were. Well, see, I wouldn't, because the Lord fights my battles. Shut up. I don't want God to strike you for lying while I'm preaching. I'd have to call the ambulance and all of that. Don't lie. But the miracle is not in your feelings. The miracle is in your feet. It's not in your feelings, it's in your feet. What you've got to do is move. Move. Beep is green. You've got the go-ahead from God, even though it doesn't look like it. Even though you don't see it, even though this is kind of an off-road season for you, and you've never been this way before, and you've never figured this out before, and you weren't educated for this. You've got a green light, and if you sit at this green light in this intersection long enough, look, God will give you the green light, but he's not going to drive the car. Uh-oh. Looks like I hit a nerve. Y'all were singing Jesus Take the Wheel. He's like, nope. Yavo, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil. Puzzle with me. Okay. It's in my feet. He enables me to go through the valley. That's what he gave me grace for. Not to make it so that I never experienced a valley. looking to external means of testimony to the goodness of God. You gotta get a green light on the inside to say, you know what? I know God is calling me to love this person, even though they get on my last nerves. That's what I mean by a green light at the Red Sea, when God enables you to do something that you could never do apart from Him. Apart from me, you can do nothing. But I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I can do this too. God's gonna get His glory, but you gotta go. You've gotta go. I don't mean running from stuff. I don't mean moving cities. I mean walking by faith, not sight. To pass through the sea. That's the reason He brought you through the Red Sea, right? Because the Egyptians can't swim that far. Oh God, too much. Should have been a series. All I came to prophesy today, come on, is you've got green, come on. And you gotta go. You gotta go. So where should I move? Tampa, Atlanta? You keep thinking it's about geography. It's not about geography. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, though I walk through, I will fear no fear. While I feel fear, but the miracle is not in my feelings. It's in my feet. And you know what else Psalm 23 says? He maketh me lie down. He knows when it should be red. He knows when it should be green. He maketh me lie down in what pastures? Did you just say green? Because my whole sermon go together to get you to realize that you've got green even in the valley, that He will feed you. He will feed you in the low place. You're oppressed, you're anxious, you're scared off. You did it, but instead of breathe you through anyway, we're so organic. I celebrate. I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate. It is all by myself. Whoa, 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 whoa. I got that go-through anointer. I got that anyway anointer. I got that Red Sea revelation. He led me through the depths, like it was a desert. He brought me through dysfunction. He brought me into destiny. He led me through the desert. He led me through the desert. He led me through the desert. The proof that God is leading you is not that it's easy. He prepareth the table for me in the green valley, in the presence of my enemies. He's leading me. I'm not going the easy way. I'm going through the sea. I've been baptized in water. I've been baptized in the Father's love. I've been baptized by fire, and I shall come forth as gold. As gold. I'm coming out of this refined. I'm coming out of this restored. I'm coming out of this with a revelation, because I got a green light at the Red Sea. I asked the Lord in coming to preach this message, what did He want to give you to get you through? And I said, show me, Lord, what you want to give them to get them through. Because He gave Moses a staff. And I'm like, well, surely you can give them something. A rod and thy staff, they come for me. When Moses had a staff, David had a staff. God of Moses, God of David. What did He give Annabelle? What was her name again, lady, that I said I was going to preach to? Kathy. What did He give Kathy? So I'm praying you. And the first thing God said He wanted to give you as you go through this Red Sea. Shout it again, you got green, you got green. I want to see green light emojis all in the chat when I watch this message later this week. Guess the first thing He said He wanted to give you was grace, grace, grace. Not just any kind of grace, because we put that before we eat the casserole. Let's say grace, not that kind of grace. He said He wanted to give you grace for your greatest embarrassments, for the thing you won't talk about, for the thing you pretend like you got through, but you're really drowning in it. I won't stay here long because you'll pretend like you got to go to the bathroom and get up and walk out if I keep talking about this. But this between you and God. And he told me to say it just like that. He said, tell Him I want to give them grace for their greatest embarrassment, for their most spectacular failure, for their most idiotic mistake. Remember, I need to show you this again in Psalm 106 because I never saw it quite this way before. I thought the Red Sea was about faith. I didn't know it was also about failure. They rebelled. Please, one more time in the back and I'll stop. I just want you to see this one more time. Would y'all be happy if I pick this up next week too? Yeah. Would you be happy if I... Let me know in chat, because I think we need to keep talking about this idea that God will give you a green light, the strength and the assurance and the calling to go through something that you've never seen anybody else go through. and that you've convinced yourself. I was telling my friend the other day, they were saying, well, you're going to get better at this and you're going to develop that. I said, I'm 41. I don't believe you. Stop lying. If I'm not all those things by now, I'm never going to be. I didn't want to hear it, you know? I won't put it in reverse. Always been this way. So now, I'm going to be stuck in the parking lot. I'm going to be stuck outside of the peace of God. Is I want to go back to Egypt. My dad for under the cross. Give him another chance. Please, man. He's breathing heavy. Thank God for second chances. You better voluntarily testify. Birchesters, Worcesters, Fitches. Because it said, they did not remember verse 7. So they rebelled. When you don't remember, you rebel. When you don't remember who God is, what he's done, what he's called you, what Jesus has done for you on the cross. When you forget that, your sole focus becomes what's in front of you, and the Red Sea is big. So of course you want to go back. Where else are you going to go? But you just saw the Nile turn to blood. You just saw frogs cover the land. You just saw the firstborn of Egypt struck dead, because God will get his glory. He's committed to it, and God is committed to your freedom. They rebelled. They rebelled by the sea, by the Red Sea. I knew they rebelled in the wilderness. I knew they rebelled at Sinai. I remember they built the golden calf, dancing around it, taking their clothes off and all that. But they rebelled before they even got out. They almost failed the test of faith in the parking lot on their way to the promised land. But what really got me was the word yet in verse 8. Yet he saved them for his name's sake. Don't you know he leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake? Green pastures, still water. They rebel, yet he saved them for his name's sake, to make his mighty power known. I wonder if God brought you to the Red Sea to give you a green light, to kill off the insecurities, to kill off the arrogance, to kill off the idols, to kill off the Egyptians. Wonder if he brought you to this not to kill you. Because it wouldn't make much sense if he did all of that to bring you out of Egypt and sent his son to spare you and then left you here at this Red Sea, would it? They rebel, but my soul got happy when I read what he did. Verse 9, he rebuked the Red Sea. See the symmetry of the text. They rebelled, he rebuked. That's what God will do. I'm going to preach it boldly. God's going to do it for you anyway. But don't list your resume of all the good things you did, of why God should help you right now. You won't need any of that. It's not what you did that's going to get him to do what only he could do. He's going to do it in spite of it. In spite of it. Instant. In spite of your stomach. He's going to give you grace for your greatest embarrassment. And your kids will live to tell of it. And your grandkids will know about it. He's going to save you anyway. Hey, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single video or live stream. And share this video with a friend. And don't forget, you can join me live every Sunday. Thanks again for watching. God's using everything in your life, don't you? This incident is important, and it's what I wanted to ask you about today. As we talk about finishing the year with God's favor, it says that after building an altar to God in Bethel and remembering everything that God did, Jacob and his crew moved on from Bethel, the house of God, the place where God met with him. And while they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth and had great difficulty. And as she was having great difficulty in childbirth, which I think is a little bit redundant, because I watched this happen 3 times and think those two. I think every time there's a birthing, there's also a breaking. But that's just me, you know, as somebody who started a church, as somebody who's trying to bear fruit in every season of my life. But this is extreme now. This is not just a normal difficulty. This is actually a matter of life and death. And in the middle of this, the midwife said to Rachel, "Don't despair, for you have another son." But watch this. As she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named her son Benoni, but his father named him Benjamin. Now this is going to require a little bit of explanation to translate Benoni, which means child or son of my trouble. Ben is the part that means son. Oni is the part that means trouble. Or some translators put it sorrow. But either way you put it is pain. And as she's breathing her last breath, understandably, She names the child that she is birthing out of the pain that she's experiencing. Her perspective is, this is costing me my life. And in a very poetic record, the writer tells us, the writer of Genesis, that as she was breathing her last breath, this baby was breathing its first breath. And we see here the confluence of the origin of Benjamin, who would actually represent the kingly tribe of Israel. But he wasn't called Benjamin because his mother named him out of her pain, Benoni. But his father named him Benjamin. But his father, who just lost the only woman he really ever loved, who just lost the thing that he worked 14 years to obtain, that in the middle of his loss, watch this, because this is what God is challenging us to do right now. He decides to label, not according to what he's about to bury, but about what was birthed out of what he buried. Now, many of us, this is not a cotton candy Christmas message, have had to bury a lot of things this year. Even as a ministry, we had to bury every plan that we had for opening new campuses, for the ways that we thought we would reach people, for every elevation worship tour that we booked in NBA arenas, for everything that we planned this year. There were funerals that we had to have, and you did too. You did too. What inspired me about the text was found not in the fact that it was his favorite wife that he buried, because, in that is a sermon. But what got me about it that I never saw when I preached it 5 years ago, you ready, Christian? It says that over her tomb, Jacob set up a pillar, and to this day that pillar marks Rachel's tomb. But back up to verse 19, because I think this is powerful. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. So I read how Rachel, the woman that Jacob loved, was buried just outside of Bethlehem. And then I read how Micah said that out of Bethlehem will be born a ruler who will dash the princes of men into pieces, and whose kingdom will know no end. And then I read about Mary, who was highly favored, who gave birth through a virgin womb to the world's greatest salvation. And it brought to me this question: do we know Bethlehem better by what was buried there or what was born there? So I want to ask this question about your Bethlehem. Remember, we sing, "Oh, little town of Bethlehem." It's cute. Bethlehem was not where Mary's OBGYN was located. Did you know that they weren't supposed to be in Bethlehem when Jesus was born? I know this sounds weird. Jesus picked a bad time to come into the world. God. He picked the worst time to come into the world. And we think everything has to be just right for God to do something in our life. And we think everything just has to be just right for God to do it. No. They were only in Bethlehem because Joseph's family was from there, and maybe they had still some land there. The Bible doesn't say, but they had to go back under Caesar Augustus because there was a census happening, and everybody had to go back to their hometown. And while they were on the way, just trying to get their business done, here comes Jesus. And I found out God is a lot like that. Just like at the worst possible moment, he will give you the greatest possible opportunity. And it's almost like this year we're being presented as a question. Are we going to label this year by what we buried or by what was born? Because I promise you, I should have done it. I messed up. But I should have said at the beginning of the sermon, what is Bethlehem? And I guarantee you none of you would have said the place where Rachel died. That's how Jacob would have remembered it, because he buried her on the way to Bethlehem. And he renamed his son. Oh, by the way, he named his son Benjamin, which doesn't mean son of my trouble. It's a play on words, because Onai can either mean trouble or wealth. So instead of naming the child after what he'd lost in that moment, he named his son Benjamin. Benjamin doesn't mean son of my trouble or son of my wealth. It means son of my right hand. The right hand is the hand of blessings. The right hand is the hand of authority. So the word God gave me for you today is, Don't bury your blessing. What happens to us is, as we journey along the way, we lose a lot of things. And the temptation is for us to identify with what we lost. And then we start labeling our lives according to those losses. Well, that limits us to what we can receive. But if you can make a decision at this point in the year to call his name Jesus. See, Jesus came from Bethlehem. Jesus was born in the place where Rachel was buried. Don't you see it? That's the same place David came from Bethlehem. That little boy with the little rock who took down a big giant. That's why Micah said, out of you, Bethlehem, will come the salvation of the world. The salvation of the world came out of a small, impossible place. And that's why I called it the year of the Lord's favor, because God said it was. But God said, the Father said, she named him Benoni. Your facts are trying to name your life right now. Favor over facts. Let me break this down. Rachel had a baby. She died giving birth to him. Mary had a baby, as she never even had the experience of sexual intercourse. But God saw potential in Mary that was greater than her experience. In Luke chapter 1, when the Bible says that the angel called her highly favored, and on a 1 to 10, I want you to know you're a level 10 favored by your Father in heaven. You don't have to clap for it. I still believe it about you. In fact, look at somebody and say, I see favor in your future. I like that kind of stuff. I like saying that kind of stuff to people. I see favor in your future. You remember when you prophesied to that girl before we wrote that song in February, and then God gave us a song to, yeah, I'm telling you, I like to believe things that my eyes can't see right now. That's why I need one of those machines like that cardiologist had, because you're looking at me like, I don't feel very highly favored. I don't feel pregnant. I feel fat, but I don't feel pregnant. You know, it's like, let me tell you something right now. Of Bethlehem, yeah, out of Bethlehem, King Jacob's greatest pain. Out of Bethlehem came God's greatest purpose. So what are you going to get out of it? This is not only a year for us to decide what we're going to give to this ministry, that we're giving an offering this weekend. God's going to use that to take the gospel all over the world, and it's a privilege to do it. But what are you going to get out of it? He said, out of Bethlehem will come for me a great king, and Mary had to believe that. And I think this is the tension. I think this is why we struggle to believe it. I think this is what blocks us from believing that the favor of God is on our lives and that purpose of God is working in our lives. Because how many struggle to believe that sometimes? Mary experienced favor and fear, favor and fear, favor over fear. And then look at verse 34. I didn't read you this verse. How will this be, since I am a virgin? And as I read that verse, I realized that we don't give birth to Christ in the same way Mary did. All right, this has only happened once. All right, so like if your girl tries to pull this Bible verse on you, you probably shouldn't marry her, because this is just a one-time thing. But Christ is being birthed in all of us, and so is his purpose. Yeah. And so is the fruit of the Spirit. And when Mary said, since I am a virgin, I realized that all we have to do to really understand the power of choosing favor or favor over facts is to put whatever limits us right there where she said, a virgin. Put the verse back up. Since I am an addict, since I am divorced, since I am an orphan, since I am, little things that we get caught up on, how much money we have in the bank, because they call that our net worth. It's not really your worth, but since they call it that, you start to believe that. Since I am broke, and then you put an event and make it an identity. Since I am a failure. That's what happens when you focus too much on what you buried to see what is being born. And I was telling my oldest the other day, I said, isn't it interesting how she's limited to her experience, but God speaks according to her potential. If we experience this year so much pain, so much fear, so much loss, so much uncertainty, so many times where we bumped our head right up against the thing that we thought wasn't going to happen, and it did happen, and we thought it was going to happen. When we bump our heads too many times, one too many times into disappointment, we begin to call our lives whatever we buried. Oh, Bethlehem, that's the place where, 2020 got a bad rap, because all we can focus on right now is what we buried this year. But we don't yet know what is going to be born from what we bury. there might be a better job on the other side of this for you. You hear me? There might be more peace on the other side of this. So God shut down some systems and some things to get you focused on your Father. I love Jacob's like, God changed my name, and I'm gonna change the name of this thing that was born in pain, but it was born on purpose. Don't bury your blessing. Come on. You shove it down and you force it down, and you got disappointed, so now you just bury that, but the problem is you are burying the blessing along with it. Said, son of my right hand, I'm naming my season according to what God is bringing out of it. So I want to say about 2020, not only did I have to bury a lot, but I got a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it. I learned some things about myself that I didn't like. Then I had to confront them, and guess what happened when I confront them? God gave me grace for them, and He showed me that He loves me even through all that, even some of the stuff that I don't like. That's what He wants to use. I got a lot out of it. I know that sounds funny to say that, because we did lose a lot, and maybe you lost more than me, and I'm not saying this in some little pretty preacher way, prancing up here in the pulpit, talking about these little things that preachers say. But if you have faith to know that what is being born is greater than what you're burying, let's say it right now, I got a lot out of it. Hey, 2020, I appreciate you. By God, you gave me my sight back. By God, you taught me how to seek the kingdom. You taught me how to walk by faith. Bethlehem isn't the place where I buried Rachel. It's the place where my Savior was born. Hey, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single video or live stream. And share this video with a friend. And don't forget, you can join me live every Sunday. Thanks again for watching.